see here. Everybody should be hopping in. We have 2 attendees so far. As attendees, start hopping in. We'll get started with our presentation. I just want to say welcome everybody to SoCal 2021 Virtual Business Development Conference. If you give me 1 sec, I'm gonna start sharing my screen, and we're gonna get started shortly. And just so you know, we are on Facebook Live as well. Can everybody see my screen so far? Yeah, okay, sweet. All right, hello everyone. My name is Ulysses. Welcome to the 2021 Virtual Business Development Conference. I want to give a special thanks to all of our sponsors that I will be naming in a few, just because I have the symbols right here. The logos, excuse me. And a little brief introduction. My name is Ulysses Guzman. I am one of the directors for the Regional Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. As you can see, my email is right there. And I'd like to welcome everyone and thank you for joining us today to hear about the best practices on securing contracts for your business. With us today are representatives from 4 of the largest agencies and corporations of Los Angeles and some of the most inclusive when it comes to the business diversity contracting. Some of these panelists will focus on certification specialties, and some are here to discuss the business opportunities of their entities and how do the businesses with them. And some touch on both. So the reason for this conference, of course, is to elevate discussions and participation among business owners, corporate business leaders, community leaders, and government officials to address issues of relevance to the business community. And also to provide local businesses with the resources they need to succeed in this economy. And we will also be hosting speedy matchmaking sessions designed to bring business owners together with corporate and government procurement representatives, and also to empower our local entrepreneurs and business people in our community. Like I said, a special thanks to the concert, to the Car Construction, Links, Department of General Services, Long Beach Transit, Metropolitan Water District, Mitsubishi Cement, SoCal Gas, CSUOB College of Business, Dignity St. Mary, and Clark Construction, Marathon Petroleum, and the West Basin Water District. Without further ado, we'll get started with our first speaker. She is from Links, and Danielle Liu, this is all you. Take it away.
Great, thank you so much. Hi, everyone. Really happy to be back with all of you. I am here on behalf of Links Constructors. We are one of the sponsors for the program today. And I guess I'll start with a little bit about me. So I work for a company called Modern Times, Inc. I am the marketing and communications director for that company. And Modern Times is a subcontractor to Links Constructors. So we are basically a consulting firm, and we provide services to general contractors as well as agencies in the construction industry and capital improvement industry. And we basically help oversee our certified and small business programs. Specifically for the Links Constructors project, we are the certified firm outreach and program coordinator. I myself have over 10 years of experience in marketing and specifically in special events. And I'm really happy again to be here with all of you today. And I'm going to walk you through just a brief project overview of Links Constructors Automated People Mover project, as well as talk about some of our upcoming opportunities and how to stay connected with us. So that's the email right there, the project email, which is the inbox that I answer basically every day. So if you do have questions, please feel free to shoot me an email there. Wonderful. So again, I'm going to talk to you today a little bit about how to put yourself in the best position to do business with Links Constructors. So here's the agenda for the presentation. I'm going to talk just a little bit about the Links Constructors project team, specifically the inclusivity team, which you're going to hear is probably structured a little bit differently than some other public works projects that you may have come across. I'm going to give you a brief overview of what the project actually entails, and then we'll talk a little bit about procurement opportunities. So we do have several certification requirements on the project. I'll take you through our step-by-step process for bidding and winning work on the project, as well as our current business opportunities and what your next steps are to get involved. So the project team for Links Constructors is structured a little bit differently. This is a P3 project, which is a public-private partnership, and that basically puts it kind of in a larger sense, equal onus on the overseeing public agency as well as the private developer. So Links Constructors basically operates within 3 different kind of separate groups. The design of the contract is DBFOM, which means design, build, finance, operate, and maintain. So kind of Links Constructors oversees that entire process, but within that process, we kind of have 3 different groups within Links that kind of handle each of those 3 different buckets. So we have Links as the developer. We have Links Constructors, which is kind of, almost think of it like a timeline, if you will. So right now we're kind of in the middle bucket of Links Constructors, and that's where the actual boots on the ground and construction is happening. And then Links Operators is going to be the group that is responsible for operating and maintaining the people mover basically for the next 25 years. So that's kind of how the Links team is broken up. Specifically speaking about the inclusivity team, I'm sure as some of you have seen on other public projects, there's typically, a diversity team or some sort of similar term for describing the certification requirements and inclusivity. So we basically have kind of a large umbrella of multiple different people that have come together to create this inclusivity team. And so the idea is to basically help reinvest in the future of Los Angeles by helping spur economic development in several different categories. So the category that I help oversee is for small businesses, and that's why I'm here today. We also help with youth engagement. So we go into schools around Los Angeles and give presentations about careers in construction. We similarly have a workforce development component of it, which basically means we help folks that are looking for work get work on the project. And all of this kind of is wrapped up, as a whole in the inclusivity team. So that's probably a term that you're going to hear more and more often, I would say, kind of, especially in these times. You'll probably hear inclusivity, inclusiveness a lot. And so we think that, our team was pretty innovative at the time when we proposed this plan to LAWA, probably like 5 or 6 years ago now. So we've really been proud of kind of laying that groundwork, right, for this project. So now that you've learned a little bit about who the main players are, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what the actual project is. So I don't know who all has been back traveling recently. I've actually taken a few trips in the past few months back at the airport, but if it has been a while for you being back at LAX, you may be surprised the next time you head there kind of to see all of the construction progress. And it's really amazing. On the right-hand side, you have a rendering of what the people mover is going to look like. And it's basically going to be an elevated guideway. So it's not going to be at street level. It's going to be above grade. And it's going to be a 2.25 mile loop, basically. So the guideway is being built within the airport. It will have additional stops outside of the airport connecting a new car rental facility, a new parking structure, and then the new airport metro connector station, which is all currently being built. The capacity of the train, looking at about 200 passengers per train, from endpoint to endpoint. It's looking about a 10-minute end-to-end ride. It will be running every 2 minutes, and it will be completely free to ride for anyone that is traveling in and out of the airport. So again, that's what it's going to look like. I was actually just at the project office yesterday, and lots of exciting updates. So we're about 70% of the way done with construction. Kind of the one big piece that's missing is, the next time y'all go to LAX, if you drive down Century Boulevard, you're going to see the big columns that have been erected, as well as many pieces of the guideway have been laid already. But it's kind of missing that one little section that goes right over Century Boulevard. So that is expected to be completed really, really soon. And we do have about 12 months or so of construction left on the project. So now let's talk about certification requirements. So the project has committed to these requirements here. And you'll see that there's 4 different buckets of certification types that we're looking for. So this is different from, you know, a metro project or other agencies. LAWA, which is Los Angeles World Airports, is the overseeing agency for this project, and they have pretty specific requirements, right? So sometimes the requirements vary from project to project. For this one in particular, there's 4 certification requirements, and I'm actually going to take you through each of those. So if you are interested in work either with Links Constructors or with the airport, you'll kind of have a, you know, a good background of what they're looking for. So you'll see here that we broke it up by design and construction. Again, we're about 99% done with the design work. And now we're way into the phase of construction. So you'll see here broken out SBE, which is small business enterprise, LBE, which is local business enterprise, LSBE, which is local small business enterprise, and DVBE, which is disabled veteran business enterprise. So you'll see here the breakdown of the requirements and what does that mean in terms of dollars. It equates to over $870 million to small businesses in both design and construction. So these next few slides, I'm going to kind of run through because you can read what they are. But, you know, again, I just want to clarify and make sure everyone is aware of what the definitions of all of these certifications are. So small business enterprise, probably the most widely known and probably easiest to attain, I would say. And you can read what's up here, but basically a business that meets the criteria set forth by the Federal Small Business Administration or the State of California Small Business Program. And for this certification in particular, LAWA recognizes a lot of other reciprocal certifications. So if you are certified with any of these agencies, with any of these certification types, it does count as an SBE certification for LAWA. So for example, you might be a DBE through the CUCP. And if that's the case, then you would qualify with LAWA as an SBE. So this can all be found on LAWA's website. They have FAQs, which are actually quite helpful. So it's under their Business Inclusivity Program tab on their website, and you can pull it up and we just put it into a table here. So it's a little easier to digest. But if you have any of these certifications, then you would qualify as an SBE for LAWA. So LBE is one that's maybe not as commonly heard of or known. This is a local business enterprise, and this is applicable for LA County, and it's certified through the City of Los Angeles. So if you currently have a workspace in LA County and you are certified by the City of Los Angeles, you could potentially qualify as an LBE. Again, this is not one that's probably more widely accepted, I would say, but it is worth it to look into because typically there's not as many businesses that have the certification. So it could put you at advantage, right? If you're competing against other firms for a scope of work and you would be certified and the others may not be. So I would encourage you to look into this if you meet these qualifications. The next definition is probably one that's, again, even lesser known, but this is exactly what it sounds like, LSBE. So it's a local small business enterprise, and a firm qualifies for this certification if you are both local and small. So not hard to figure out, but you do need to meet both of those requirements. And just know that it's not a separate certification, right? So you're not going to get a certificate that says you are a certified LSBE firm. We recognize it on our project by verifying that you have both certifications, but it's not its own certification. But again, it's kind of a little quirky LAWA requirement or goal that they have. So this is probably one, again, that not a lot of people have, but it's worth looking into if you do happen to have the both local and small certification. And then lastly, we have the DVBE definition. And this one, pretty straightforward, self-explanatory. Again, LAWA recognizes reciprocal certifications, and these are the agencies that they will also work with to accept your certification. So these are all pretty standard. So if you are a veteran-owned business, I would assume you probably have at least one of these. And if that is the case, then you would count for LAWA's requirements. All right, so that brings us now to the procurement process. And this is how we work with the Links team to help get small businesses on the project. So the first thing is to make sure that you stay connected to us. And again, I threw up the email on here on this slide, so you can jot it down if you'd like. If you email us and you say, hey, I'm interested in the project, what we'll do first is we'll add you to our email distribution list. And that list is really important because that's how we communicate with a large number of firms. We advertise procurement opportunities. We have event invites that go out. We send out monthly newsletters. So it's really just your best way to stay up to date on what's happening on the project. Again, because we are so far into the construction phase right now, we're closer to the finish line than we were from the start, which basically means we do have a limited number of available scopes of work that are coming up. However, when they do come up, we send out notice of interest emails. And that's basically an email that says, hey, we've got plumbing scope. Do we have any plumbers out there? If so, please respond to us and give us your information. So that's kind of how we cast a very wide net to make sure that we advertise the opportunities appropriately. Once we do that, we collect information, we collect people's responses, and then we basically review the list of firms that have responded. We give those over to our contracts team, and then they're going to do some further vetting, some further research, and basically send out an invite to firms that they feel are qualified. And it's usually through a procurement portal, and ask you to submit a bid. Once those bids are submitted, again, the contracts team will review them, decide which is the winning bid, best value, and they will award the contract. If you're a certified firm and you bid on a scope and you are not awarded that scope, you are encouraged to ask for a debrief, which basically means we'll kind of help walk you through your bid and say, this is the reason why you weren't awarded, and this is maybe what you can do for future bids. So really pretty simple 5-step process. But again, just wanted to make sure that everyone was aware of kind of how to best get involved and get those notifications from the project. All right, and this slide here is kind of some of the fine print, what I like to call, of what our requirements are to do business with Links Constructors. So safety, 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 safety. Number one thing, top thing that we always look for. And for those that do work in the field, you should be familiar with this, an EMR rate of less than 1. We do require firms to be licensed and bonded. However, we recognize that some small businesses may not have the capacity to do that. So we do work with Merriweather and Williams Insurance Services to help assist you in that process. So we do use a third-party insurance vendor, and they are there to help contractors that this may present a hurdle for. Performance and payment bonds. Union contractor, we do have a PLA. You must utilize a local workforce and maximize your utilization of certified firms. So if you're a first tier, we do require you to stick to those same commitments with your lower tier subs. Perfect. So now we've come to the part of the presentation where we talk about what we're still looking for. These are our current business opportunities. Like I mentioned, it's not a lot. Because we have procured a majority of our scopes that we're looking for. However, this is a pretty healthy list of what we're still looking for in the project. Basically, it will take about a year to test the train cars and make sure they're up and running correctly. So a lot of the work kind of on the back end of the project is going to be really highly specialized, kind of like technology-based systems and testing-based scopes. So really, really specialized, quite niche scopes, but something that's a little bit more broad, and I actually don't have a ton of details on this, is an automated passenger counting system. So whatever that looks like, I don't know if it's a turnstile, I don't know if it's a electronic counter that goes in the car, and actually I don't know if our team necessarily has the details, but this is something that they will be looking for. Similarly, we're looking to finish out our tile floors and walls for the stations. Network management, that one is a little bit broad, but again, kind of relating back to the systems and testing portion. And kind of our typical final construction scopes. So we have roadway striping and final cleaning. So again, those are kind of the scopes that we have coming up. If any of you provide those scopes, please reach out to me at that opportunities email, and I'd be happy to review some of your information and pass it along to our contracts team so that they have it when the time comes up for going out to bid. And now we've come to next steps. So you've kind of heard about the project, you know who's working on it, you know what the project is about, you know what the certification requirements are. I've just let you know what we're looking for, and these are the next steps. So if you're interested in learning more about the project, I encourage you to connect with us by sending us an email. We do also want to make sure that you are in the best possible position. So definitely double check your firm's certifications to ensure that they match what LAWA's requirements are. If you are added to our email list and you see a notice of interest go out, make sure you respond if that is something that applies to you. And if you are interested in potential sub-tier, second tier, third tier work, we can help connect you with our prime contractors on the project. Unfortunately, we can't, we don't publicly list our prime contractors, but if that's something that you are interested in, you can reach out to me and we can help connect you to the right people. And that is all I've got. So hopefully I was within time. If you do have questions, please, like I said, shoot me an email. I answer that inbox all the time. If you want, you know, a heads up on the project, an update, anything of the sort, please reach out to me there and I would be happy to help get you connected. And that's all I've got for today. So thank you so much. I appreciate your attention, and I'll turn it back to Ulysses.
Yes, thank you, Danielle, for that lovely presentation. If you have any questions right now, we have like about 2 or 3 minutes. You could type them up in the chat or in the Q&A portion, and then I'll be asking the questions to Danielle. So far, we have such an amazing presentation, Danielle. Good job. Thank you so much. So we're gonna open it up. We're gonna open up the floor to any questions for all of our attendees here.
And I'll stay on too if I see any that pop up, you know, that are addressed for the Links project throughout. I can help answer those via the, you know, the chat or whatever as well.
Okay, sweet. Thank you. Let's see here. Okay, I don't have any questions so far, but I'm glad, you know, Danielle left her email right there just in case, you know, any questions come out throughout the presentation. Make sure you can put them on the chat, or you can just email them privately. That'd be awesome. So we're gonna go in once here. Twice. Okay, sweet. Okay, we're gonna move on to our next presenter, which is from the California Department of General Services. So without further ado, Jermaine, the floor is all yours.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. I'm extremely excited to be here. My name is Jermaine Carter Gibson. I'm a business outreach liaison with the California Department of General Services. I'll just say next, and we'll continue to go through the slides.
Okay, sweet.
All right, so this morning, what we're gonna do is go through a quick crash course on how to do business with the state of California. Now, the state of California spends in last fiscal year $12 billion with a B on contracting. Everything from A to Z, from ammunition to Ziploc bags. Before we go any further, if anyone out there has a business that can hear my voice and is ready for their business to get a check from the state of California, please put yes in chat. If you really mean it, put yes with an exclamation point. If you really, really mean it, put caps and an exclamation point. I need at least one to move forward. I need at least one. There they go. There they go. There they go. Good morning. All right, so in today's presentation, we're going to cover a couple things. We're going to cover certifications. We're going to cover our website, caliprocure.ca.gov, which is where you get registered and get certified. We're going to cover the California State's Contracts Register, also known as CSCR, which is where the contracts are held. We'll cover one of the benefits of contracting, which is the SB DVBE option. We'll cover the State Contract Procurement Registration System, also known as SKIPPers. This is where you'll be able to do some market research to find out which departments buy what you sell. We'll cover our brand new emergency registry, and lastly, how to find small business advocates. Next, please. So first, let's talk about the certifications that the state of California both accepts and offers. First, a good thing to know is that the state has contracting goals. So the goal is 25% of the contracting dollars to go to certified small businesses and 3% of the contracting dollars to go to certified disabled veteran business enterprises or DVBEs. I'm going to cover quickly some of the requirements for each of the certifications so you guys can know kind of where you fit. As far as small business, you must be independently owned and operated, which means you're not a subsidiary of a larger company. You cannot be dominant in your field of operations. All that means is that there's competition in what you do. You must have your principal office located in California and have your owners or the officers in the sense of an LLC have to be domiciled in California, which just means you must live here, and be a business with 100 or fewer employees. So all of those requirements apply both to small business and small business for the purpose of public works. This is where it gets a little different. So for small business, you can have 100 and fewer employees and make gross annual receipts of $15 million or less, averaged over the last 3 tax years. In the sense of small business for the purpose of public works, which just means you do alteration, repair of any public building, structure, or property. It can be up to $36 million in gross annual receipts. Lastly, for the DVBE certification, you must have a 10% service-connected disability and be at least 51% owned by 1 or more disabled vets. All right, so how do we get registered and get certified? So there's 2 different sides of our caliprocure.ca website. You have a registration side, which is your registration profile, and you'll have a certification side. The reason for this is that any company in the world can bid on a California contract, right? So anyone can register as a bidder, and then only the companies that meet those requirements that we just covered can actually be certified. So this is how you go through the process. Step 1 is being registered. So you'll go to caliprocure.ca.gov, and at the top right, you'll click on login/register. Next, please. When you get to the next page, at the very bottom, you will see new bidder registration, and you will click on that to get to the bidder application. Next, please. And then there's a 5-step process for you to set up your registration profile. Next, please. One more click. Once you are registered, the next thing is for you to get certified. Now, your certification lasts for 2 years. It is up to you to manage your renewal time periods. You really won't get an update on when that happens, so you want to keep your dates in order. Next, please. Now, this is your work center. Now, the way the work center is broken up, on the left side, you have your registration information. On the right side, you have your certification information. You can see now in this example, we've gone through the registration, but we haven't done our certification yet. So to start your certification process, you will either click on Get Started, or you can click on Apply for Certification. Either one will take you to that application. Can you all hear me? If you can hear me, someone say yes.
Yes,
Okay.
we can hear you.
Awesome.
Yes.
All right. You will get to this page for certification. Now, this is very important. On this page, we have updated this page to give you a ton of resources that you will need to fill out the certification application. So you want to stop here, go through the resources, and make sure that you gather all of the documents that you will need before you go through the process. Now, you can always start and stop the process, but it's best that you gather everything so that you'll be able to do it all, hopefully in one sitting. Next, please. And that kind of outlines where all that is. Now you're going to get to the Get Certified page. This page again, has more resources at the top, which are PDFs for each individual certification and the benefits of each. Also, you have all of the certifications at the bottom that you're eligible to register for. If you want to do multiple certifications, if you feel like you apply for both, let's say small business and DVBE, you can click on multiple boxes, so you only have to go through the application once instead of doing multiple applications for each certification. Next, please. All right, so that was a crash course on how to get registered and how to get certified. The next thing is, once you are registered and you are certified, the very next question is, where do I find the contracts? I'm ready to go, right? So the California State Contracts Register is where you will find that. This is where state agencies post the solicitations that they go out for bid. Suppliers can find contracting opportunities. You can also place ads on a contracting opportunity to inform of your interest, and those ads are free. All right, so you will log in, and at the top, right in the middle, is the California State Contracts Register, and you will click on Start Search. Now, once you do that, you're going to get a search engine of our basic search criteria. Most people miss that there's an advanced search criteria right in the middle. So if you click on advanced search criteria, it is going to take you to additional search criteria that you can plug in to make your search a little bit more specific. On this option, you will be able to add UNSPSC codes. You will be able to add service areas. You will be able to add any contractor license type that you may have that would apply to this opportunity. And also at the bottom, you'll be able to save those searches so that you can come back to them in the future and not have to plug in each individual option. Once you find a contract that looks appealing to you, this is what they look like. One of the things I want to bring your attention to is the date that the contract needs to be submitted in by, or your bid needs to be submitted. Go ahead and click on that. And then also the contact information for the person in charge of this procurement. So if you have any questions, this is going to be the contact that you want to reach out to early on. As soon as you have a question, make sure you reach out. Typically, in this example, you have a phone number plus an email. Typically, you may only see an email address, which is actually in your benefit. If you reach out by email to ask your question, you will have a record of that communication that you can refer back to in the future if you need to. A couple more things to point out are the event package. This is where all the specifics of how to bid and what they're looking for are located. And also the post a vendor ad option is there as well. And this is where you can say, hey, I'm a prime looking for subs, I'm a sub looking for prime. I do some auxiliary work that could be related to this contract. That's where you can post your ads. Ads are free and they're all text, so you can't add any graphics or anything. It's for us to keep everyone on a level playing field so that you can post your ad and let everyone know your interest. All right, I want to highlight one of the benefits of the SB-DVBE program, which is the SB-DVBE option. So along with being added to our certified firm database, along with the contracting goals that we talked about earlier, one of the big benefits is the SB-DVBE option. So this applies to goods and services and IT goods and services from $5,000 and a penny up to $250,000 minus a penny, for public works contracts up to $333,000. The way this works is that a department has to go directly to the SB and DVBE firms before they go out into the public. All they need is 2 price quotes from either 2 SBs or 2 DVBEs, and then they can make a purchasing decision. So what this does is it really minimizes the amount of competition and is just specific to SBs and DVBEs, and you have a much higher probability of winning a contract. So this is one of the major benefits of being a certified firm. Next, please. All right, so now we're going to quickly talk about how to reverse engineer your efforts to figure out who buys what you sell. As an owner of a small business, we know that your time is limited, and you want to be able to focus your energy on a couple departments that buy what you sell, instead of spending the time to cast a wide net to all of the departments hoping to find something. So we're going to show you quickly how to do that. So when you log in, you're going to click on the Find Procurement, Public Procurement information at the bottom on the left. Go ahead and click on that. And this will then take you to a lot of opportunities. You will find search past procurements. Go ahead and click on it. It will be past purchases in the state contracts register. Go ahead and click on that. Second one down. And that will take you to a search engine where you can search past purchases of what is the state purchased in the past. So in this example, we're going to do a basic search for surgical masks, because that's been a hot topic lately with COVID, right? So if you search surgical mask, and you can search a time period for the procurement, you will then get results that are going to give you a lot of very valuable information. Number one, all the way to the left, is you're going to find the department name of who made that purchase. Right, let's go back, spend a little time here. You're going to look at the purchase document, which is a hyperlink next to the name, which will show you kind of a breakdown of that procurement, especially like how many of a particular item were purchased. You'll have a description next of what was purchased, the amount. You have supplier name that won the contract, if they were certified, what certification that they had, and the acquisition method. So what does this do? This then takes the big state of California and it narrows it down to maybe 4 or 5 departments that buy what you sell. You now have pricing information, so you know how much the state has purchased, has spent in the past to buy the items, and you also know who your competition is, who the certified firm or the supplier is that won that contract. So what I would do is, I now know these are going to be the departments I'm focusing on. I'm going to look up these profiles of these certified firms, and I'm going to see, what does their profile look like? What do their UNSPSC codes look like? And I'm going to compare it to mine, so I can level this playing field to make sure that I can be in the best position to win the next contract. And then I'll also look at the acquisition method and find how that department is making the purchase, right? So if I see like there's cooperative agreements there or leverage procurement agreement, I will know, okay, I need to get on that leverage procurement agreement. It's not just a competitive solicitation, right? So this is really high level, but there's really, really good information in here for you to narrow down and focus your energies. Next, please. All right, the next topic that I want to cover is very new and it's very exciting. It's the SBDVBE Emergency Registry. So to give you a little bit of background, year over year, from last fiscal year to the year prior, the state spent $2 billion additional year over year in relation to emergency contracts. And this is like wildfires and COVID have been the 2 biggest, right? And to be honest with you, in that $2 billion, not enough of that money has gone to our small business community, because when you have an emergency happen, you need to react quickly. You need to react with companies who have the capacity to be able to tackle whatever the emergency is. So typically those have gone to larger firms, right? So we understand that, and we are creating an emergency registry specifically to address those issues. So this is a dedicated portal for California certified businesses to register as a supplier of emergency goods and services. And so unlike Cali Procure, this portal will only include businesses that are able to provide the services from a predetermined emergency list that I will show you in a minute. And State Department buyers can access and search this pool of suppliers. Before we move any further, I want you guys to know this, is This registry, for it to be successful, we only want the firms who have the capacity to respond to an emergency today, right? You have to have the capacity to respond to an emergency immediately. If not, this may not be able to be successful and this may not be the registry for you, right? Because if a wildfire happens in your area and a buyer needs whatever they're looking for to be able to address that, we need to be able to respond quickly. Next, please. So which businesses to sign up? We kind of just talked about this. SB and DVBEs who are currently ready and able to support the state of California's emergencies and be able to react fast, around the clock turnaround. This typically, if we reach out to you in the morning, we're expecting you to be able to respond in a couple hours, right? Next tab. So these are the categories that we're looking for in the emergency registry. You can see them all here. Huge ones have been debris removal and roadway maintenance, traffic control, logistics. All of these are what we're looking for in the emergency registry to be able to respond to emergencies quickly. Next, please. Now, if this seems like this is the registry for you, this is what you're going to need to register. You'll need your certification number. So that means you're going to already need to be a certified SB or DVBE to be added to this registry. This is specifically for certified firms. You're going to need to know your emergency categories that you want to say that you can accomplish, description of the goods and products and services that you sell, your business address, and contact information, both primary and emergency. Emergency meaning an after hours contact. So, you know, if a wildfire happens at 2 in the morning, we need a contact that we can reach out to at 2 in the morning. All right, next, please. And let me see here. I want to be able to put this in the chat. I'll put it in the chat afterwards. There's the email address here, SBDVBE Emergency Registry at dgs.ca.gov if you're looking for additional information. And I will put the link in the chat once we're done because we're doing a lot of sharing and I'm not able to get to the link right now. Next, please. All right, the last thing that we're going to cover is SBDVBE advocates. These are the people within our departments. I think I see Nina on today. These are those within the departments who are there to advocate on your behalf. So although you're added to our database, it's important for you to market your products and services to the state and find the small business advocate for the agencies that you would like to do business with. Next, please. And I'll show you how to do that. So from your homepage, you're going to click on the tile. So next, please. You're going to click on the bottom right, the Find Training and Resources tile. Next, please. This is going to take you to the page that you saw before. And towards the bottom, you're going to click on Find an SBDVBE Advocate. Next, please. It's going to take you to the advocate page, which has the SBDVBE advocate directory right there in the middle. Go ahead and click on that. Which will then download an Excel spreadsheet of all of the departments with all of the advocates that are available to assist you and their contact information. So I've cut the contact information off of this slide because advocates do change periodically. But I wanted to give you an idea of what to look for. A couple of things that we've highlighted. The departments that are highlighted in yellow, these are departments that have first policies. So if I did my research and I find 5 departments that buy what I sell and 2 of them have a first policy, I would probably want to go to them first because I have a higher probability of winning a contract. We've also X'd out some of the departments that buy construction related goods and services. So if you're in the field of construction, you would want to focus on those departments as well. So go ahead and do a couple clicks so we'll highlight each one of those. And construction. So we highly recommend once you do your research, reach out to the advocate send them a communication with your capability statement, with your certification number, your background, and build that relationship with them so that when a procurement happens, you can be top of mind. Now, keep this in mind. Our advocates are people, and our advocates, you know, if what you sell is not something that they're currently looking for, there may be a little delay, but you want to make sure that you build those relationships so that as those opportunities come up, that you can be top of mind and you can be available to take care of that procurement. Next, please. All right, so I know that was a ton of information in a little bit of time. So we took an hour worth of information and gave it to you in 20 some odd minutes. Are there any questions on anything that we covered? Mr. Guzman, any questions?
As of right now, I have no questions right now, but I know sometimes they pop up in the chat, and I'm pretty sure all the panelists can see the questions here. In case you guys have any questions, you know, we'll open up the floor to like about 2 minutes or so. But as of right now, I'm not getting any.
No problem. And I will also stick around. I will be available in chat. I will post the link to the emergency registry that we talked about. And if any questions come to mind, please go ahead and send them in chat and I'll answer them.
Yes, definitely. And then in the Q&A, because we have a Q&A portion here, if I have any of these, I'll forward them to you, Jermaine, like in a private message, or just forward them to you. I have one here. I don't know if you can see that by Bernadette. Jermaine, can you see that?
Let me see.
It's saying it's going to be in the chat. They put it on the chat. Yeah. Okay. It says.
What does it say?
It says my company teaches health and safety training such as CPR and first aid. I don't find any codes that lead to contracts with the city. How do I find those contracts with the city?
With the city specifically, I wouldn't be able to answer that. I can definitely help in relation to state contracts. This is a really specific question, Bernadette. So what I'm going to do is send you my direct email address, and I want you to reach out to me directly and we can work on that together.
Perfect. And then, yeah, Jermaine will put that in the chat. And then I have Kelly here who has her hand raised up. Do you have a question?
I do. Thank you so much. Jermaine, at Long Beach Transit, we recognize the SBE certification for small business enterprise for our contracts that are state and locally funded. Can you please describe to the attendees the time frame that one can actually become SBE certified? I typically refer people to the state's website because the certification time frame and turnaround is basically in 1 day if you have all of your necessary documentation. Can you speak to that for me?
Absolutely. So we're asking Kelly how long it takes to get a response and get it actually be certified. So you're absolutely right. So if you, in the application process, if you give them everything that they're asking for, then you can get an automatic approval through the system. Typically, the DVBE certification will take a little bit longer because they have to verify your disabled status. But that can typically happen within 7 to 14 days. So the turnaround time on these are really quick, as long as you provide the documentation that they're looking for. And that's why I highly recommend before you go into the application process to look at that list of the documents that you're going to need so you can gather all of those first so that you don't miss anything along the way.
Thank you.
Of course.
Sweet. Thank you, Jermaine. Do you have anything else to add, Jermaine, for all of our attendees here?
No, actually I do. One last thing is we all know knowledge is power, right? But execution always trumps knowledge. So when you come to these events and you get all of the information, knowing the information is great, but executing on that information is what's important. And we are definitely here to help. And I'm going to I put my direct email address in the chat, and I'll also put our overall mailbox in the chat so that if I'm not available, our team can assist. We really want you to execute and get some of this $12 billion that's available.
Sweet. Thank you, Jermaine. Now we're going to move on. And then, by the way, in case any questions pop up, feel free to put them on the chat or message Jermaine privately. Message me in the Q&As and I'll message Jermaine. So, but without further ado, we'll move on to the next presentation, which is from the Long Beach Transit. And so we're going to give it here to Kelly Irving, and she'll be taking it off from here.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Guzman. Ladies and gentlemen, it is truly an honor to be back here with the Regional Hispanic Chamber of Commerce again this year as a sponsor and also a presenter. With that being said, I've been with Long Beach Transit since March of 2019. I'm very excited today, just as much as I was when I started with the agency. I've been in this field for a number of years, 15 plus years, advocating on behalf of disadvantaged business enterprises, in addition to small business. So civil rights programs, equity, matters of diversity, equity, and inclusion, that's my area. And I call myself, I've termed myself as an inclusionista. So with that being said, I like to go ahead and move forward with today's presentation. Now, today's presentation, I will actually lead you through a PowerPoint presentation that's already pre-recorded. At the end of this presentation, I will be available for any questions that you may have. I would like to reiterate utilizing the SBE certification that's issued by the state of California Department of General Services, because it is one of the certifications that our agency recognizes, in addition to our Disadvantaged Business Enterprise certification, which is recognized through the California Unified Certification Program that can be obtained by Caltrans, City of Los Angeles World Airport, and Los Angeles Metro. With that, let's go ahead and start this video. And bear with me, you guys. I was feeling very ambitious with this video.
Sounds good. And let me know if you can hear it on the other end, please.
Okay. I can't hear it on my end.
Okay, give me 1 second. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen real quick. Okay, let me know if you can hear it now.
Long Beach Transit is proud to participate in the Regional Hispanic Chamber of Commerce SoCal 2021 Virtual Business Development Conference. Today's presentation is presented by Long Beach Transit Procurement Department and the Office of Regulatory Compliance and Civil Rights. Long Beach Transit is committed to providing a fair and open competition on all procurements and creating a level playing field with regard to contracting and employment opportunities. Long Beach Transit has a dedicated procurement department that oversees all procurements, formal and informal. To support our commitment to providing equal opportunities, Long Beach Transit establishes subcontracting goals and evaluates bids and specifications to identify potential barriers that limit participation by certified disadvantaged business enterprises and small business enterprises. Long Beach Transit monitors contracts to ensure prime contractors meet their participation commitments to utilize the listed certified firms. Sounds like a partner you would like to do business? To get started, navigate the Long Beach Transit website at ridelbt.com. In the About Us menu on top, click on Doing Business with Us. It will take you to the page that looks like this screenshot. Here you can access the link to Planet Bids, located by the red arrow at the bottom of the slide. LBT utilizes Planet Bids as our e-procurement platform for all formal and informal solicitations. Planet Bids allows interested suppliers, contractors, and service providers to register online and to receive automated email notifications of opportunities. To begin, visit Planet Bids to register and find current opportunities. Planet Bids is free to all bidders and very easy to navigate. When going to the Planet Bids website, the first step is to register as a bidder. Once your account is finalized, you can search for bid requests from all of the organizations and agencies that use Planet Bids as their e-procurement platform. On the bidding portal, you can download the documents which include the scope of work and all the required forms to be submitted with your response. Both formal and informal solicitations are available through Planet Bids. Should you decide to bid or propose, all responses are due at or before the time shown on each solicitation. Late responses cannot be accepted. All responses must be submitted online. Email responses will not be accepted. It is the bidder's or proposer's responsibility to ensure that the most complete and current version of the solicitation, including addenda, have been downloaded. Vendors, contractors are solely responsible for maintaining up-to-date and current information and may edit their profile at any time. The contracting process is easy, secure, and reliable. However, if you need help or have questions concerning the features available to our bidders, proposers on this section, please visit the website for online support. Vendors, contractors are solely responsible for contacting Planet Bids directly for technical assistance. Long Beach Transit's dedicated procurement team is available to answer any of your questions. We thank you for doing business with Long Beach Transit.
Okay, so that concludes our presentation on how to do business with our agency. When you log on to Planet Bids through our website, you're able to review our current opportunities. At this time, we do have a opportunity that will be released in the near future. Long Beach Transit recently purchased a corporate headquarters, which is I think a 7-story corporate commercial property. On that, we are going to have an elevator modernization. That particular bid will include, our proposal will include a 5% small business enterprise goal. Okay. With that being said, I will drop into the chat my email, my name, my email, and my phone number so that you want to communicate with me directly. Thank you so much, and I look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you. Thank you, Kelly. We're gonna see if we have any questions right now that any of the panelists want to ask, and then I'll forward them to you. Here. And of course, you know, Kelly will be dropping everything down to the chat below. So we'll give it maybe a couple seconds here before we can move on to our next presenter. Sweet. Okay. Thank you, Alejandra. She says thank you very much. Okay, without further ado, though, we'll move on to our next presenter. Here is going to be from the Metropolitan Water District. So we have here Mr. John Arena, who will be talking to us about that.
Thank you. Thank you. Are you going to put my presentation up?
Yeah, I will be doing that.
Okay, thank you. I switched to my phone because I was having such a bad connection here at work.
Okay, yeah, no worries. Yeah, I'll just be transferring the slides.
Thank you. All right. We don't have to do the video.
Okay, so you want me to just move on?
Yeah, you can move on.
Okay, perfect. There you go.
All right, thank you, thank you. Let me see if I can make it bigger. There you go. Well, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be. Obviously our world has changed in the past 20 months. My name is John Arena. I'm the Business Outreach Manager at Metropolitan Water District. I've been doing this actually, this is our 20th year since the program was adopted by our board. And 20 years ago, it looked a lot different as far as outreach. A lot of agencies were trying to figure out, what does outreach look like, and with coming out of Prop 209, and what can agencies do, especially public agencies, to really give back and put dollars back into the communities, especially our small business and our diverse business communities. So yeah, we've been on this journey. I've known Kelly for for a long, long time. She's one of the absolute best. DGS has been an incredible partner, and it's kind of nice going last in a presentation. I haven't done one of these in quite some time, but it's nice to go last because boy, did they cover everything. Kelly covered Planet Bids, which we are a partner with, and DGS being a reciprocity partner. We really wouldn't be as successful as we are if it wasn't for DGS, their staff. We've served on their advisory council for many years. There's no better group than the state's advocates. I was a judge for the State Advocates Awards many, many years ago, and so impressed that they can achieve 25% when back then it was 9 billion. And I believe now I heard 12 billion with a B. So please take it seriously, get certified, reach out to those advocates. You have a great advocate at DGS. All right, so a little bit about Metropolitan. I think it's just good to do this in case you don't know who we are. But then a lot of small businesses think, well, I want to sell. They have a small business program. I want to sell my product. But if you don't understand who the customer is and who we are, you don't want to be frustrated, right? You don't want to be like, well, gosh, I can't supply to 5 facilities across Southern California. I can do one. Well, that's a conversation that my staff can have with you to kind of explain our buying patterns and how we buy. But again, I have an amazing staff. Carmen Bermudez-Bracey, who's on this call, she is my lead with the chamber, and she's also my certification officer, and she's also my contract compliance officer. She does so much for the program, but all my staff, when you call the hotline, they're there to just kind of walk you through whatever you're dealing with, right? I think, I think Sir Jermaine said, this is an hour presentation, but my staff is always there, not 24/7, but if you call within, during the day, someone will be there to support and help you. But Metropolitan is the largest wholesaler of water in the United States. We do have 26 customers, but under that, there's 350 water districts. So over my 20 years, I've met so many small business owners out of places like Oceanside, small women-owned tool company. Said, John, I can't supply $5 million worth of product next day. I said, well, let's get you on our spot buy list, where you can buy, we buy things that are not on the bigger contract. She liked that, but she wasn't getting a lot of work. Well, then I turned her towards the sort of Oceanside water agencies and the other local agencies, even your own agency you sell to. And she has been flourishing with that business in the water sector. Next slide. Please. All right, where do we get their water? I read an article this morning that we're finally going to get some rain in the north. There's a huge atmospheric river that's going to be hitting Northern California in Sunday and Monday, almost 1 to 3 feet of snow, about a foot of water, rain. Now, this is critical. We have a great economy, but we don't have an economy unless we have water. And these last couple of years, we've been in a mega drought. All of our systems are in drought conditions. It's pretty dire. And I'll talk a little bit more about conservation coming up here, but things are bad. And how that impacts you as a business owner is if we're not selling water, there's revenues lost. For about 1.5 years, we've been losing about $200 million in revenue per quarter. What that means is if you have an on-call contract or you're looking ahead to say, hey, I want to bid on a metropolitan work, or you're in construction, those projects might be on hold for 2, 3, 4 years. Our board of directors, if you've ever listened to one of our board meetings, they struggle with that every day. Where are we going to find the funds to continue to bring safe, reliable drinking water to Southern California? Next slide, please. These are just, again, I've talked a little bit about it, but just so you know your customer is, we sell water wholesale to 26 agencies from Ventura to the border and out to San Bernardino, of course, everywhere else in Southern California. About 20 million people receive some form of MWD, a drop of water from Metropolitan. We've been around for about 100 years. And we are continuing, we're actually forming an office. I'm excited to say we have a new general manager. He just started about 4 months ago. He came from the City of LA Streets Department, and his name is Adel Hashkhalil. He has a vision of one water, that every drop counts. And he is actually hiring in the next 2 months, he's hiring a director for DEI, diversity. He believes is critical to Metropolitan's future and it's changing its culture. So we have a director for diversity, equity and inclusion. And we also have a director coming on for sustainability, resiliency and innovation. These are very, very high level positions, and it shows you that the board and our new general manager is taking those two things very, very seriously. Next slide, please. Just for people that don't know, or just you can tell your family tonight over dinner that you learned something new about water, because most people turn on the tap and you kind of take it for granted, right? I mean, you turn on the lights and you think, well, it's a hot day. Edison has probably got a rolling blackout. No big deal. It'll be on in a bit. But can you imagine if you woke up and your kids turned on the tap and there was no water, or at nighttime you were cooking dinner and there was no water? I think people would panic. And I think what Metropolitan's done over the last 30 years, I've been here for 25, but since the 90s, is they've done a good job of looking down future. We don't do planning for a year. We don't do planning for 5 years. We do planning out 50 years. And because we relied so much on imported water from the north and from Colorado, we were susceptible to, if we have a mega earthquake, we may run out of water after 6 months. So Metropolitan really has, and with our new general manager, embraced this concept of one water. We've got to have supplies from recycled, conservation, and we do have those outside, the Colorado River, and we have the Northern California Sierra water, but those are really struggling right now. They're really struggling to, because of the climate change, to really provide, sustainable supply. Next slide, please. I don't have to go too much into this, but we have our own issues, just like a lot of small businesses or just businesses. We're constantly checking the quality of water. Our board of directors really wants to make sure that we're, providing that safe, reliable water. In the north, there's so many rivers that are drying out from drought that it's endangering so much species. Salmon numbers are down. So we really have to work with environmental groups and really make sure that Metropolitan's doing its part. I talked about capital financing. The money's not there. We're going to the federal government right now to try to tap into some relief money coming out of this COVID. And so, who isn't going to DC trying to get money from the federal government right now? And energy costs absolutely going up and up and up. And Metropolitan, a lot of people maybe don't know this, but water in essence is free, right? Mother Nature gives it to us, but where the real costs come in is moving the water. You got to get it to people's homes. So that's where the lion's share of the sort of water energy nexus, when people talk about why is energy or water so expensive? Well, you got to spend hundreds of billions of dollars on moving it around the state. Next slide. I already talked a little bit about this. We're really focusing on climate change and bringing in a director for sustainability and resiliency. I'm excited to get that person. Hopefully they're on board by December, January, and we get to start really focusing on this challenge. Next one, please. This is a really great move that I think our new general manager and our board is looking at, and that is looking at disadvantaged communities. In the past, we've done almost 15 to 20 years worth of advertising and going out in communities saying, take out your lawn, we'll give you rebates, put in toilets, put in this, put in these devices, let's conserve together. Well, there's a whole group that was really not, I think kind of left behind, and we didn't do a good job of reaching out to. And those are our disadvantaged communities. Metropolitan is spending a lot of effort, lots of money, and going into those communities and working with them to make sure that they can take advantage of the rebates as well. Next slide, please. This is just the last thought on it is back to my general manager, the one water. Every drop counts, he talks about. Whether we're working with farmers to fallow their land, which means don't grow a crop so we can take the water and put it into the reservoirs. Our reservoirs are depleting. All the systems are very, very low. And when you think about the water in the Colorado River, 7 states, including Mexico, share that supply. When it's in a drought, it means that places like Arizona and Nevada, Mexico, California, we get a trickle from that system. It's serious, and it's something that the board and our new general manager is taking very serious. Let me now switch to the business outreach program. We've been going strong for 20 years. Is it next slide? There we go. And next slide, please. Very successful track record. We started out with 18% was our original goal. We quickly, after 2 years, exceeded that. In about 2009, our board said, John, we got to do better. And so we raised our program to 25%. We average about 28 to 30% roughly a year with small businesses. And 3% is our goal for DVB, disabled veterans. And we've basically just adopted the state of California's program. And we, of course, recognize the state's DVB certification and the federal certification. Our original program was called the Regional Reinvestment Program 20 years ago. And that's because we wanted to make sure dollars stayed in the region with companies that lived and worked and paid for water in Southern California. And I'm proud to say we average about 80 to 85% of those dollars staying here in Southern California. Carmen, I've mentioned already. A lot of you probably already know Carmen. She is kind of the face of Metropolitan with the chamber, but she tracks all of our spend to subcontractors through her contract compliance accountability program. What is a small business? I think we've covered this, but we recognize 2 certifications. Obviously, we have our own certification that Carmen manages for us, and we base that on the SBA guidelines and the NAICS codes, and of course our great partners in the north, the state of California. I just want to tell folks on the phone, please, if you haven't gone into your profile in Planet Bids with Metropolitan in the last year or last few months, please do. What we have found is we had about, I always mess up the number, but 8,000 or 10,000 vendors. And I think 75% of them had lapsed their certification. What that means is you don't get to take advantage of our great incentives and other programs when people are searching for SPEs in our database. They may overlook you because you've expired. So please take a time, either call Carmen, call our hotline, get your profile updated, please. Next slide, please. Now, this is what's important, why you really want to make sure your profile is updated. We do a lot of RFPs. We have an RFP coming out in a few weeks it's about 3.5 million. It's going to be for media buy. We're looking for a company that does, strategic media placement and buying. And we're going to be doing that RFP in about 2 weeks. What's nice is we have percentages, sort of like an incentive on those contracts when we evaluate. 5% for being a small business or DVBE, and of course 5% for staying in the region or being a local business. If you're buying something from MWD, if I'm not buying something, I'm sorry. If you're selling a product or to Metropolitan, we take what they call a discount off your bid. So if you're a small business and you're a local business, you get a total of 10% off your bid for evaluation purposes. And of course, we pay you the full amount. But it shows you how serious Metropolitan board and executive management takes the program. That's why really between the training, doing partners with the chamber, just all the outreach through the 20 years, the thousands of events we've done, it's all about connecting and making sure people know that not only are we serious, but if you do things right, and I think it's been said over the phone call, just be prepared, make sure you're doing your homework, and the opportunities will come. And if they don't, always give us a call. And we'll talk. And the last thing is construction. Metropolitan has what we call a small business requirement on construction. This is a big deal. Most agencies don't have what they call a requirement for our general contractors. We typically 25%. So if somebody comes to us, like our building, we're doing a seismic upgrade on our headquarters. It's roughly, I want to say about 45 to 50 million. What that means, folks, is that my goodness, my math is bad, but it's something like 12 to 15 million is required to go to small business. I believe they're doing upwards of 30 to 40% on that contract. And Carmen, of course, can give you the right numbers. But there's 50, 60, 70 subs, small businesses from the area that are working on the seismic upgrade. And again, we take it very seriously. It doesn't matter if it's a pipeline project. Whatever MWD bids in our construction or public works, it will have a small business requirement. So please take advantage of that. And if you're a construction firm, we're in dire need of construction. Small, electrical, you name it. If it's construction related, Metropolitan is struggling. We're not getting a lot of bids. We know that there's a lot of competition out there. We know there's a shortage of work, and just people are busy out there. We don't know if it's COVID or whatever it may be, but we are going to start a series of construction outreach workshops. First one is November 5th. It's a Friday, where we've got 280 attendees already registered, but it's going to be Metropolitan's attempt over the next year is to really lay out all of the work coming out in construction and construction supplies. So keep that in mind. If you make a note, if you're in that area, November 5th, reach out to us, or I'll help make sure Carmen gets that information to the chamber. With that, I think that's my last slide. It is. Oh, certification. I think that's been talked about to nauseam. So get certified, mwdh2o.com, business outreach, and please get your profiles in order. Thank you. I'm sure, I'll stick around, and thanks again for having me. It was a lot of fun. It's been a while since I've done something like this, so it's great to be back.
Yes, definitely. Thank you. I'm going to open up the floor to any questions. I know I have Ms. Bernadette here. It says, great information. Thank you, Mr. Arena. But I'm just going to give it maybe a couple minutes to have any questions or anything that any of the panelists have to say. Or John, if you have anything else that you'd like to say to the attendees, then feel free to do that.
Yeah, I'd love to give you Carmen's information. How do again, I'm not good. I know I should be good at this after 500 Zoom meetings in the last 20 months, but do I just go to the chat and post it?
Yeah, so what would you do is you click on the chat and then type it in there, type the information in, and it will pop out for everybody.
Okay.
Or if not, you could just search for my name and then type it to me, and then I'll make sure to get it to them. Yeah, but you can do it on the chat as well.
I'm going to turn my video off, and I'll do it right now. Okay.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, John. Sweet. Okay, yeah, and then also, John, if you could probably get your information down there too, in case anybody has some personal information. Maybe you could get your email down so they could contact you after. I know Jermaine, Danielle, and Kelly did that.
Okay.
Okay, sweet.
Will do.
And I noticed you had like a script earlier today. Do you want us to play that script by any chance, like in the beginning of the presentation, or was like a little video or something?
Oh, yeah, you can. It's just it's a cool little video we did to highlight one of our signature events called Connect the Met, but it's only about a minute and a half. I think it's about a minute and a half. So yeah, if you want to play it, that'd be cool. That'd be great.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. Give me one sec. And it was this one right here. And let me know if you guys can hear it in your end.
Connect the Met, what small businesses can expect is a lot of resource partners, information about government contracting, where to go, what websites to go into to register for opportunities. And we also have buyers and decision makers at these events, people from IT, information technology here, or human resources. We have a member agency staff who can really help them get a deeper understanding of how the government sector purchases and how we buy.
Thank you.
Sweet. Yes, lovely video. Oh my goodness, that was awesome. And we're gonna move over here. Oh, okay. So that concludes our presentation here. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put them on the chat, contact them. I know you guys have the personal information for Danielle, Jermaine, John, and Kelly. And I'd like to give you guys a round of applause using the reaction feature. Oh, I don't have the reaction feature. Okay, so I'll give it to you guys like this. Great job on the presentation. I'm pretty sure you heard that. John put his email down there as well. I'd like to give another special thanks to our sponsors too: Lynx, Mitsubishi, Aventex, the General Service, Dignity Health, Long Beach Transient, Watson's Land Company, Marathon, Clark Construction, Metropolitan, Cal State Long Beach's College of Business, SoCal Gas, and of course, West Basin Municipal Water District. Also behind me, there's also another team. I'd like to give a special thanks to Alejandra, Rodrigo, Sandy, and Vanessa. So thank you guys for putting all this together. And without further ado, thanks everybody for joining us. We'll see you at the SoCal 2022 Business Development Conference. If you have any questions, feel free to put them on the chat, message them directly, get, network with everybody. Great opportunities, great funding here going on for you folks. And then if there's anything that the panelists want to say, one last minute would be awesome.
I just wish everybody the best and health. Thank you.
Absolutely. Best of luck, everyone.
Thanks for having me. It's nice to see all of you panelists again, and I hope to hear from some of you.
Thank you. We look forward to you at Long Beach Transit.
Sweet. And then thank you. I was like, can we have recording or playback? I may miss beginning a few minutes. Yes, I'll make sure to talk to Sandy about that to see if they can get that to you, Dan. Stop sharing. Yes, one last final thanks to everybody. Thank you, panelists, for coming. Great presentations you folks had for all of us and for all of our panelists. So this will conclude our meeting. I'll stay around here for like another 2 minutes in case any other questions pop up, or in case Jermaine, Danielle, John, Kelly, if you have any questions for us as well. But without further ado, we are done with our presentation. Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, so if you would like to ask a question, there is a Q&A on the bottom of your screen where you could ask the question, or you could type any other questions down on the chat. This is for Dan. Just like you type that one in where that message, you can ask the question there as well. Thank you, Dan. Yeah, so if you would click the link on the email, you would automatically be transferred to like an email where you can send an email to the person indicated, or you can just copy and paste, go on Google, go on Yahoo, wherever have your email, and obviously, send them a regular email as well. And if you need any help with that, feel free to let me know and I'll guide you through the process. Sweet. Thank you. That's a very good question. I believe it does, and it's LINXS, links. So, but if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Danielle, and or I can forward you Danielle's information, or forward it to Sandy, and Sandy can reach out to you then. And thank you, Araceli. Thanks, everybody. Thanks all the panelists for coming. Thanks all the attendees for coming. Yes, the matchmaking is at 2 p.m. Sweet. Okay. So one final last, or as agent. Oh, I'm just a director for the Regional Hispanic Chamber. I'm not working with any of the government presentations that were going on today. Sweet. Okay. Well, just want to say thanks all the attendees. I have 6 of you online right here. Thanks everybody for coming. I'm going to end the meeting right now, but if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Sandy or feel free to reach out to any of the panelists that we had today. Without further ado though, take care, have a good day, and then we will end this here.